Deep into the eyes, read them like a book. Trapped inside a prison, gotta free them like a crook. Make off with the loot, made off for the joke. Treated like these cowards never needed what we took, and we repeat it like a hook. Caught in the deep, come back like Wheezy. Card 3, sensation. Wait, then pause the beat. Eyes don't lie, truth still hard to see. They're begging me to show them, they're saying that I owe them, but I'll never give it up. Not for you, not for no one. Foreign ride, touring, soaring, open road, exploring.
Yeah, welcome to the show. This is Smoke the Competition, and I'm your host, Eric Sojash. Thank you for checking us out. Greatly appreciated. Please take a second, subscribe to the channel. I'm trying to build a little bit of an army here. The more you guys subscribe, the more content I can create here. So please take a second and do that. We're jumping into NFL Week 9, going right into your start sits. I'm going to break down every matchup, all the matchups that I see as, some fantasy value in them. We're going to let you know exactly who you should start, who you should sit, who your must starts, who your hero starts, your boom busts, and who are your risky starts for this week. We got two teams on buys here. I think it's the Pittsburgh Steelers and the San Francisco 49ers. So some key players there that you're going to have to sit and find some replacements for. So without further ado, I'm Eric Sojash. This is Smoke the Competition. Once again, you can follow me on Twitter at Sojash Sports. Once again, please subscribe to the channel. But yeah, let's jump into NFL Week 9. Let's go. All right, first things first, we're going to break down the lingo here, let you guys know exactly how things are discussed on Smoke the Competition. If I set a player up as a must start, that's an absolute smash. That's a must start. That's a top 12 play. Get him in your lineups. Don't think twice about it. If I say a player is a hero start, now that's more of your boom or bust. That's a player that I believe can exceed expectations or can bust. One of those players that you could take a swing on him, but he can sink you, or he can take you all the way to the championship. In terms of a floor start, now that's exactly how it sounds. It's a player that I believe has a very safe floor, but there's not a high ceiling. Some of those players that are going to get you, 6 to 8 points a week, get you them safe points. They won't completely bust, but they definitely won't blow up for you. And then a risky start is exactly what it sounds like. A player that's too risky to start, you put them in your lineups, they could cost you the W. You keep them in for too long, they can cost you the season. All right, the first matchup I want to break down is between the Miami Dolphins and your Buffalo Bills. This is going to be the second time these guys meet this season. The first one is a bit of a disappointment. Buffalo completely steamrolled Miami. Tua got hurt in that matchup, everyone remembers. So I do think Tua is going to want some revenge, want to have a better game here. However, I do see him as a risky start. Keep him on your benches. At the running back position, this is where Miami is going to attack that Buffalo defense. I like the running backs, both of them in this matchup. I see Devon Achane as a must start, and Raheem Mostert is your floor start here. At the wide receiver, Tyreek Hill, the Cheetah. It's going to be struggling here. Buffalo is really good in the secondary. They've played really stout defense. They know how to slow down this Miami offense. But Cheetah, he's still one of those players that can change everything in one play. So I see him as a must start. On the contrary, I see Jalen Waddle, I see him as a risky start. Keep him on your benches. And then tight end, Jonnu Smith, another risky start. Keep him on your benches. I don't think he's a good play in Week 9. Hopping over to those Buffalo Bills. Now, I do see Josh Allen as an absolute smash. Must start. Get him in your lineups for Week 9. Running back James Cook, he's been killing it all season. Once again, he's a must start here. Plug him in, play him. Absolute smash play. At the wide receiver position, my boy Keon, been hyping him up since preseason. Nobody's talked about Keon like I have. That's my dude. I see him as a hero start, boom or bust. I'm leaning more on the boom. He's been pretty consistent lately, but this Miami secondary is their strong point, so he is more of a risky play, boom or bust this week. Khalil Shakir, I see him as a floor start, especially in PPR leagues. Outside of PPR, I see him as a risky start. Amari Cooper, now he is going to pick it up. Him and Josh will get rolling. But for the time being, Amari must be on your benches. I see him as a risky start in Week 9. Like I said, Miami secondary is pretty good. And coming off last week, he wasn't really involved enough for me to plug him in. And in the tight end position, Dalton Kincaid, I've seen him as must starts in past weeks. He hasn't quite boomed. It's been a little bit disappointing. He's a floor start, especially in PPR formats. He does get enough targets, 4 or 5 a game, to keep you involved. He does score every couple weeks, but he just hasn't quite translated to what we all want. So I see him as a floor start in Week 9. All right, the next match I want to break down is the Las Vegas Raiders taking on the Cincinnati Bengals. This is basically a must-win for both teams. Whoever loses this is not going to be seen in the postseason. For that reason, both teams, I think, are going to be bringing out all the stops on offense. For the Raiders, I got Gardner Minshew as a risky play. Can't play him. Got to have him on your bench. You can find better plays elsewhere at the running back position. Zamir White, absolute risky play. You might even be able to release him if you haven't done so by this point. Alexander Madison, he's getting enough work to be a floor start for me. Other than that, not really liking a lot for him. Jacoby Myers, he's a floor start here. He did get rolling late last week. He might get some garbage points again here, so he is a floor start. Outside of that, I see Trey Tucker as a risky start. Keep him on your benches. And then Brock Bowers, the only bright spot, the green light for this Raiders offense. He is an absolute must start. Plug him in and feel confident with him producing for you. Hopping over to the Bengals. There's a lot more green over here. Joe Burrow, smash start. They need the win. He's going to come prepared to get that W. I think he'll put up some good fantasy points. At running back, Chase Brown, I think he's a must start this week. Plug him in with confidence. Get him rolling. I think they'll get a lead and then lean on the running game more so than any other week in the last couple weeks for these Bengals. On the contrary, I see Zach Moss as more of a risky start. I keep him on my bench. Jamar Chase, absolute must start. Top 5 play this week. They should lean on him early. He should get rolling. T. Higgins is an injury risk. He's seriously doubtful for this game. I don't think he's going to play. Keep him on your benches. At tight end, that leaves Mike Gesicki as a must start for me. Last time T didn't play, Mike Gesicki absolutely boomed. He should boom again. Get him in your lineups. He's a must start. Next game I'm definitely looking forward to is going to be an NFC battle here between the Dallas Cowboys and the Atlanta Falcons. On the Dallas side, I see Dak Prescott as a floor start. Last week he really struggled. I think he'll do a little bit better this week. Atlanta does have some good safeties, but he's a pretty good plug and play. Him and CD have a good connection there. They should connect for a touchdown. So he is a floor start for me. At running back, Rico Dowdle's going to get a little bit of a bump here with no Zeke. I see him as a floor start. Atlanta is pretty good against the run as well, but they do leave some holes there. So I do see Rico as a good floor start. On the contrary, at the wide receiver position, I love CeeDee Lamb. Once again, he's an absolute smash play. Must start. Plug him in. Don't worry about him. Jalen Tolbert, I see him as a floor start this week, a little bit higher than previous weeks. If you are desperate at wide receiver, you can plug him in as a floor start in your PPR formats. And then Jake Ferguson, this week I have him as a must start. Get him in your lineups. I think he'll be really good for the Cowboys. On the flip side for Atlanta, I got Kirk Cousins as a must start going against this Dallas defense that's been really hurting. I think he'll have enough opportunities through the play action to score some points. At running back, Bijan Robinson, we know the deal with Bijan. Plug and play. He's an absolute smash. Must start every week here. On the contrary, I like Tyler Algier, but he's not a must start here. I see him as a floor start. If Atlanta does get a lead, Dallas is really susceptible to the run here, so he might have himself some late runs, get him some garbage time points. At wide receiver, Drake London, absolute smash, must start, plug him in. He should have a big game against Dallas. And as well as Darnell Mooney, I see him over as a boom or bust hero start in week 9. He might boom. I think it's a little bit more likely to boom than bust. I would play him if I was desperate at wide receiver, but if you're loaded, he's a little bit more of a risk. And then at tight end, Kyle Pitts coming off his best game. I like him again against Dallas. He's an absolute must start. All right, the next game I'm jumping into is those Jacksonville Jaguars traveling to Philadelphia to take on the Eagles. Should be a great game. Doug Peterson's return to Philadelphia. Now, Jacksonville, I see Trevor Lawrence as a boom or bust hero start this week. I think he might boom, some late touchdowns, some garbage points. Running back, Travis Etienne's a risk. Keep him on your bench. He's a risky start. I like his running mate, though, Tank Bigsby. I think he has a floor start, a chance to fall in the end zone. Eagles are pretty good against the run lately, but Tank might have his opportunity here to score. Receivers, they're definitely decimated at injury. Brian Thomas is hurt right now, but if he plays, he's an absolute must start. Gabe Davis, if he plays, I like him as a hero start, a boom or bust. He is on the more side to bust than boom, but if you have to play him, if you are desperate, he is someone you can take a shot at. And at tight end, I do love Evan Ingram as a must start. Him and Trevor Lawrence have a great connection, and he's getting a hell of a lot of targets. Now on the Philadelphia side, we do like Jalen Hurts as a must start, plug and play every week. Don't worry about that. He's going to get his tush pushes. He's going to hit his shots to AJ Brown and Devontae Smith. Sorry, stumbling over my words. But yeah, he's definitely a must start. At running back, Saquon, another guy you don't worry about, absolute smash play. Could definitely score 2 touchdowns here. They might lean on getting him some touchdowns instead of Jalen stealing them all. So I see Saquon as a must start. At wide receiver, AJ Brown, another superstar player, must start. At wide receiver, Devontae Smith, I see him more as a boom or bust hero start, more likely to boom than bust in this game. And then tight end injury risk, they might have Dallas Goedert back. If he plays, I see him as an injury risk here. I keep him on my bench. He's a risky start. Next up, we got an NFC North showdown. Two great teams, two great offenses, two teams looking for the Super Bowl this year. We got the Detroit Lions taking on the Green Bay Packers. Definitely looking forward to this game. A lot of fantasy points will be scored here. Kicking things off with Jared Goff, I got him as a floor start. He should be able to produce enough, but they can lean on that running game so they don't have to throw it a lot with Jared. So for him, I like him as a floor start. Speaking of that running game, David Montgomery, absolute must start, plug and play, absolute superstar, score every week. He's one of those, anytime touchdown guys you want to bet on. Now, Jahmyr Gibbs, another superstar running back. He's a must start, plug and play him. Don't worry about it. At wide receiver, Amon-Ra St. Brown, he's a must start. Slot monster, they call him, PPR stud. You plug and play him. Don't worry about the matchup. And at tight end, I think Sam Laporta has turned the corner. They're going to be throwing to him a lot more, especially with Jameson Williams serving the second his game suspension there. I like Sam Laporta as an absolute must start. Now moving over to the Green Bay Packers. Definitely Jordan Love was a bit of a disappointment last week with that injury. They're saying he's going to play. He's going to give it a go. I think he's a hero start this week, boom or bust. If that injury lingers again, he could completely bust for you. If you have other options, like myself, I'm playing Sam Darnold over him, not taking the risk of an injury again. But he could completely boom. Jordan Love loves to throw it all over the field. For me, he's a hero this week. Josh Jacobs, that's an absolute must start, even against this tough Lions defense. They know how to run the ball in Green Bay. They know how to scheme up great runs. So Josh, he's a great running back. Get him as a must start in there. At wide receiver, Jaden Reed, with his quarterback playing, I like him as a must start. Plug and play him. He's destined to bounce back and have a big game soon here. Romeo Dubs, I like him as a hero start, more likely to boom than bust. I really like him to play well this week. And then Christian Watson, I think he's a risky start here. If you have other options, I'd go with somebody else, keep him on your benches. But he does have the capability to catch that big bomb and change everybody's week. And then at tight end, Tucker Kraft, I see him as a floor start here. If you have other options like I do, I have a Sam Laporta. I'd rather go with Laporta this week over Tucker Kraft. Especially if you don't have Jordan Love playing this full game. Without Jordan Love, Tucker's going to lose his value. So I do see him as a bit of a risk and a floor start. Next game I want to jump into is the LA Rams taking on the Seattle Seahawks. This is an NFC West showdown. Great fantasy points going to be scored in this game. Can't wait to dive into this one. On the LA Rams side, we got quarterback Matthew Stafford. He's got his weapons back, Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp, so that makes him an absolute must start. We got Kyren Williams scoring every week. No brainer there. You play Kyren every week. He's an absolute must start. Cooper Kupp's back. Him and Matthew Stafford have a crazy connection, so you play Cooper Kupp without any second thoughts. He's a must start. Puka Nacua, now he did hurt himself in practice. They said it was minor. He's good to go this weekend. With that news, I'm playing Puka again as an absolute must start. We saw what he did with his first game back. You cannot miss out on those fantasy points. And then tight end Cody Parkinson, you can't play the tight end here. He's not worth the risk here. Keep him on your bench. He's a risky start. For those Seattle Seahawks, I like Geno Smith as a must start. Not a top 5 or 10, closer to 12, 13 this week, but I do like him throwing the ball all over the field. At running back, Kenneth Walker is going to have a bounce back week. I think he's an absolute smash play. Get him in your lineups. He's a must start this week. At wide receiver, DK Metcalf, if he returns from injury, which they're saying, he's a must start. If he doesn't, obviously you keep him on your benches. Now with DK returning, that bumps Tyler Lockett down, in my opinion, to a hero start, more of a boom bust. Likely to more boom than bust, but it does bump him down to a riskier play. With no DK, Tyler is a must start. With DK, he's a boomer bust. And then that goes to Jackson Smith-Njigba. I think regardless of DK status, he's a floor start. We haven't seen enough out of Jackson to boost him up. I'm hoping for more. The talent is there. It just hasn't translated to weekly fantasy production. So he's a floor start for me. And then at tight end, Noah Fant, good player. He's doing a little bit here and there in real life to help this team produce. But in terms of fantasy, I'm not big on Noah. I think he's a risky play. Keep him on your benches. All right, one of the more interesting matchups. It's not a frequent teams that play each other. We got the Colts taking on the Minnesota Vikings. On the Colts side, at quarterback, they finally made a change. This is going to help everybody in fantasy football. Joe Flacco is going to be playing at quarterback. I like him as a floor start for the Colts. Think he'll be able to boost everybody around him as well as himself. At running back, Jonathan Taylor, that's an easy no-brainer. He is a must-start. Get him in your lineups. At wide receiver, Michael Pittman, now that he's got a quarterback, PPR formats, you play Michael Pittman with confidence. He's a must-start, as well as Josh Downs. The kid is an absolute stud. Get him in your lineups. Must-start. Alec Pierce, now he's a bit of a riskier player. I like him this week as a boom-bust hero start. More likely to boom than bust, but if he booms, more likely to bust than boom, but if he booms, he can win you your week. And then another wide receiver, Adonai Mitchell. Really like the kid's talent. Don't love him this week. He's a risky start. Keep him on your benches. Now hopping over to Minnesota side, Sam Darnold. I do like him as a must start this week. Personally, I'm playing him in 2 leagues. 1 league, I'm actually playing him over Jordan Love because of the injury risk. So let's go Sam, get some points. I like him as a must start. Running back, Aaron Jones, also a must start this week. You play Aaron with confidence. At wide receiver, Justin Jefferson, one of those top 3, top 5 wide receivers in the entire league. He's an absolute must start. His wide receiver mate, Jordan Addison, I like him as a sleeper this week. If you're struggling, if you have anybody on buys, you can plug in Addison as a sleeper. I think this is going to be a high-scoring affair. And then TJ Hawkinson making his debut of the season. I like him as a hero start, boom or bust. We're not just sure how much quality time he's going to get, how many targets he's going to get, but the talent is there. I like him as a sleeper or hero start here. He can boom or bust. All right, breaking down the final game, the Monday Nighter, we got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers traveling to Kansas City, take on the Chiefs. Tampa Bay side, quarterback Baker Mayfield, been absolutely torching it all year long, just killing it, moving up the ranks, top 3 quarterback on the season. This week, I do see him as a floor start. However, the Chiefs defense is no joke. They're going to be really tough for Baker to work with without his top wide receivers. He's a floor start, bordering on risky. At running back, Bucky Irving, love the talent. I was one of the biggest Bucky hype guys. Definitely a risky start this week. I keep him on my benches. Same thing with Rachaad White. I know it's a rough week for some buys if you have San Francisco or if you have Pittsburgh running backs, but either way, these guys got to go on your bench. Risky starts. At wide receiver, Jalen McMillan. Another risky play. I like picking him up, stashing him, but I can't play him against this tough defense. And then tight end, K. Dotton, he's been killing it. Play him as an absolute must start. Don't worry about anything with him. That's one of Baker's favorite targets. On the flip side, looking at the Chiefs, I do like Patrick Mahomes this week. I'm playing Patrick Mahomes as a must start. I'm ranking him in my top 10 quarterbacks. I think he's going to have a breakout week here and get going against this Todd Bowles defense. At running back, Kareem Hunt, he's been really good since returning to the Chiefs. I got him as an absolute must start. DeAndre Hopkins, now he's going to have another week under his belt. I like him as a boom or bust hero start this week. More likely to boom. I'm actually going to probably play him in 1 league if Brian Thomas Jr. is injured. At another wide receiver, Xavier Worthy, they've been working him into the fold more. Hasn't turned out to great production, but he has found sneaky touchdowns here and there. I like him as a floor start just because they've been trying to work him into the offense more. And tight end Travis Kelce, they got clicking last week. That'll continue against Tampa Bay. He's an absolute must start. Well, that's it for today's episode. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for following up with us in Season 2. So excited to get things rolling. Once again, follow our fantasy season. I'm going to give you guys up close and personal look. Give me your ideas. So let's stay interactive. Let me know what you think. I'll definitely be interactive, responding to all your comments. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so. Give us a like. And you can give us a follow at Souljash Sports. Thank you. Peace, love, and let's continue to smoke the competition.
Deep into the eyes, read them like a book. Trapped inside a prison, gotta free them like a crook. Make off with the loot, made off for the joke. Treated like these cowards never needed what we took, and we repeat it like a hook. Caught in the deep, come back like Weezy. The card 3, sensation. Wait then, pause the beat. Eyes don't lie, truth still hard.